The sun rose like liquid fire spilling across the savannah, a golden flood washing over endless fields of grass that swayed like the tides of a living sea. The air shimmered with heat and with life itself, the trill of distant birds, the hum of insects, the low grunt of warthogs wandering near a watering hole that glittered like glass under heaven's gaze. Out of this expanse, a lion pride moved with regal weight, golden silhouettes against green, a rhythm as old as the earth. In their center, half hidden by swaying blades, bounded a cub, small, clumsy, and burning with joy. Its paws battered the dirt with uncoordinated steps, its laughter-like purr spilling into the air as it swiped at grass blades and stumbled after a butterfly glowing like a piece of sky broken free. That butterfly's dance was innocent, fleeting, and yet it led the cub away from safety, toward the edge of shadow where trees stood like silent watchers. And in those trees, danger waited. Like a roaring lion, your enemy prowls, seeking whom he may devour. Innocence never knows how close the teeth of darkness truly are. At the far side of the clearing, shapes slithered forward, a dozen hyenas, thin with hunger, their mottled fur slick with dust, their yellow eyes burning with wicked intent. They were shadows come alive, moving with cruel intelligence, their snouts twitching, their jaws already wet with anticipation. The lionesses felt it before they saw it, the air thickened, their instincts sharpened, growls rumbling low like storm clouds gathering. Shoulder to shoulder they formed a wall, tails high, teeth bared in defiance. Yet even as their fury ignited, a gap revealed itself, their cub, their very heartbeat, was missing. Half the pack had broken off, a torrent of snarls rushing like floodwaters toward the grove where the cub had strayed. The cub froze, the butterfly was gone. In its place came rustling, low laughter and claws scraping against dry earth. The little one turned, wide eyes trembling, its body sinking low. It cried out one piercing wail that carved through the grasses like lightning, reaching the pride, reaching its mother. Her head snapped around, eyes wild, heart split open. She bolted, but dust rose behind the hyenas already closing the trap. When the helpless cry out, the Lord hears them, he delivers them from all their troubles. And in that moment, the cub's cry was not just an echo in the savannah. It was a plea carried heavenward, then the ground itself seemed to shudder. At the edge of the treeline where sunlight met shadow, a figure rose like stone breaking free of earth. Massive, immovable, a silverback gorilla, his fur streaked with age, his shoulders towering, his eyes carved deep with wisdom and storms he had weathered. His name whispered in the hush of the forest, Bakery. Alone he had lived at the forest's edge, an elder of his kind, carrying silence like a cloak. But on this morning his silence broke. With a breath his chest swelled, his fists thundered against his chest, a sound that cracked across the plains like divine thunder, shaking leaves from branches, sending birds screaming skyward. The hyenas faltered, ears flattening, snarls hitching. This was no part of their hunt, and then came his roar. Not a lion, but older, deeper, a sound that felt like the earth itself crying out in defiance. The cub blinked, its tears pausing, staring at this impossible savior. Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for another. Bakery did not wait to be asked. He charged, the ground exploded beneath him as he thundered forward, a force of raw power and devotion. Hyenas scattered, snapping, lunging, but Bakery's arms were faster, stronger, ancient. With one motion he scooped the cub into the safety of his chest, his broad arms cradling it like the most fragile treasure. Dust spiraled in their wake as he pivoted, legs pounding the earth in long, desperate strides. Behind him came the storm hyenas giving chase, their barks like broken laughter, their teeth snapping inches from his heels. Foam flew from their jaws, claws ripped at the soil, hunger driving them forward. One leapt, jaws gaping, too late. It hit only air, tumbling in the grass. Another lunged, missing by a breath. Still, Bakery did not stop. The cub clung to him, trembling, burying its tiny head into the grey fur of its protector. It had no words, no way to understand, but its heartbeat pressed against his, and in that rhythm the wild itself seemed to speak. You are not alone. Defend the weak and the fatherless, uphold the cause of the poor and oppressed. In that moment, a silverback became more than beast. He became guardian, beyond the dust, beyond the chase. A lone figure leaned against his jeep at the edge of the plains. Ranger Elias. His eyes scanned the horizon, his hand steady on his canteen, his heart at peace in the lull of morning. Then the peace shattered, distant growls, furious barking, and a shape that made his hands freeze. A gorilla, running, and in its arms a lion cub. Elias lowered his binoculars, disbelief widening his eyes. The scene barreled toward him, dust clouds rising, hyenas pouring behind in a frenzy of hunger and rage. Instinct surged through him. He climbed onto the hood, rifle steady, waiting for the moment when chaos would align with his aim. Be strong and courageous, do not be afraid, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Joshua 1:9. At the perfect instant he fired. A single crack ripped the sky apart. The sound rolled across the plains like lightning splitting heaven itself. Hyenas faltered mid-charge, their courage breaking like glass. Yelps cut the air. One by one they peeled away, vanishing into the tall grass, their hunt shattered. Bakery did not stop until the jeep loomed before him. His massive body, trembling with exhaustion, finally collapsed to his knees, dust whirling in tired spirals around him. Chest heaving, he cradled the cub one last time, then with the tenderness of a father he placed it down on the grass, safe and whole. Slowly, reverently, he rested his hand upon its small back, a gesture of farewell, of blessing, of something no words could capture. Helias approached, his steps soft, his rifle lowered. He knelt beside the cub, running a hand down its quivering side, feeling its breath, its pulse. Alive, safe, he lifted his gaze, meeting the eyes of the silverback. In those eyes, Helias saw no beast, no other, only a soul, weary, ancient, and infinitely compassionate. For a heartbeat, the savannah held its breath. Lion, cub, gorilla, and man, 3 lives intertwined not by blood, not by species, but by something greater. The wolf shall dwell with the lamb, the leopard shall lie down with the goat, and a little child shall lead them. In that silence, the truth shone brighter than the sun, that the heart of creation beats as one. And so the cub returned to its pride. The mother licked it furiously, tears shining in her eyes as she nuzzled it close, the pride gathering around in relief. Helias watched, and in the distance, Bakery rose once more, fading into the forest's embrace. Alone, but never forgotten. The wild had spoken that day, reminding all who witnessed that life is not divided by walls of species or strength, but bound together by the law of love. And as the savannah sighed beneath the fading sun, it was clear, this wasn't just an animal rescue. It was a miracle, a heartwarming animal video come alive, a viral YouTube story written by the hands of the creator himself. A gorilla, a lion cub, and a man, proving that in the wild, as in humanity, the greatest survival is not just to live, but to love. Then, as if the earth itself had drawn its breath one last time, Bakery stood tall once more. His shoulders lifted against the golden horizon, a towering silhouette etched into the memory of the savannah. He did not linger. He did not turn. Without looking back, the silverback's massive frame moved steadily toward the waiting trees. Each stride was deliberate, heavy yet unbroken, carrying with it the quiet dignity of a warrior who had done his part. Slowly his shadow stretched across the grasses, growing longer as the sun reached its peak. Step by step, the silverback became smaller, his outline fading like smoke into the embrace of the acacia forest. And then he was gone. No roar, no farewell. Just silence, a silence that carried the weight of sacrifice. The righteous man walks in his integrity, blessed are his children after him. Bakery was no longer visible, but his courage remained, written into the wind, carried in the heart of a cub, and forever remembered by the human who had witnessed the impossible. Helias worked quickly now, his hands steady though his heart still trembled. Kneeling by the cub, he checked it from nose to tail, fingers brushing lightly over its golden fur. A few scratches marred the soft skin, reminders of how close death had come. But no broken bones, no grave injuries. Alive, shaken, yes, but alive. The cub's chest rose and fell rapidly, its small breaths shuddering as it blinked up at him. Helias whispered softly, words meant less for understanding and more for comfort, his voice as gentle as the breeze. With practiced care, he pulled a soft cloth from his pack, wrapping it around the trembling frame, shielding it from fear, from memory. Cradling it, he carried the cub to his jeep and placed it carefully on the front seat, as though setting down something sacred. The engine hummed to life, wheels crunching the earth as they rolled across the grass. Beside him, the cub's wide eyes followed him, silent questions shimmering in them. Who are you, human? Why did you answer my cry? And Helias, though he could not speak its language, felt the weight of those questions in his soul. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. As the jeep rumbled slowly through the acacias, Helias' mind drifted back to